Hello everyone. Today I'm going to deploy this Tic-Tac-Toe web-based Node.js application in the Kubernetes. First Docker, then after I will deploy it in Kubernetes. Mm, mm. This is my master node and this is my worker node, mission 2. Here you can see mission 1 is the control panel. Okay. I have created a new namespace called the Tic-Tac-Toe. Use config view namespace. As you can see, Tic-Tac-Toe is my default namespace. Here you can see index.html and node.js file. These both are the files. If I open this index.html, you can see the game can be running smoothly. And the other way is running it using node.js because I want to deploy it in Kubernetes using Node. That's why I am using node.js. Here you can see application server is running on HTTP localhost 1212. 1212 is the port number. Here you can see localhost 1212. You can see the same game is getting uh, displayed here. Okay, now it's time to create the Docker file. From copy all to npm install expose 1212 cmd node. Yes, yeah. As the port is exposing, the port is getting exposed on 1212, so that's why I mentioned here. Save the file. Now it's time to build the image. As you can see, there is no image here. Docker build ttt. I will give the name as ttt because tic-tac-toe. Mistake. I think we don't need this npm install. Yeah, this Docker image creating of the image was completed. Here it is. Let's run it locally first. Here you can see when I do Docker ps, here the container is running on port 1212. Let's see it in the browser. Yeah, first 1212. Here you can see the game was getting was running. Docker. Now there is no need to run this container in the background. So I'm stopping it because we are going to push it to the Docker registry. Docker ps Docker images. We want this ttt. There is a small mistake I have done. that is Docker Hub. After Docker, create a repository. I want to apply a Node app. There are total of 6. Okay, I want to create with this tag name, so I just forgot that. Control C with that image name, Docker RMI hyphen F 6A. Okay, Docker build hyphen T paste and then TTT. Docker images. Here you can see I have just renamed it so that it will be easy. Docker push. Control Shift V is to TTT. Push into the Docker Hub. Yeah, it got pushed here. You can see SHA-256. Let's confirm it by reloading the page here. Yeah, here you can see TTT dot with the tag name TTT. A few seconds ago, it got pushed. So now we're gonna use it in the Kubernetes deployment. Now we are going to create this deployment file, YAML file. Then let's create as a, let's see whether any deployment is running or not. kubectl here. There is no resource found in the Tic-Tac-Toe namespace. Okay, we can proceed. You can name it as you wish, but just for the better view, I'm just using ttt deployment.yaml file. API version. It, version apps v1, and now the kind is deployment. Metadata, we can name it, I'm using name Tic-Tac-Toe. Okay, and the specs. Replicas, I'm giving one because I don't want to keep load on my machine. So you can use as many replica sets as you want. It's better to have 2 or 3, but here I'm using only one. The next selector, and the match label. Labels, then after app, this is the name I'm giving for this deployment. For the it's a filter that giving for any other services like service ingress and other things. TTT in the next, it's next template. Sorry, my bad. Next metadata. Then after ls labels, I'm giving app ttt. This both should be same. Specs, and the specs is containers, and the container is the name tlc tab to, and the image, we should copy it from here. Yes, and don't forget to keep the tag, it's the most important thing. and ports. I'm giving the container port. Then port 1212. Okay. See any mistakes? Okay. kubectl apply -f etc deployment.yaml. Yeah, deployment was created. We'll get pods. Let's see pods. It's creating the pod. Let's wait until it's get created and ready. Not yet ready. Yeah, now we can see the it is ready. 1 out of 1. If we give 2 replica sets, it will be 2 out of 2. We can see 2 deployments. But for the to check whether it's working or not, we're gonna get into the pod and check it. kubectl exec -it and the pod name -bin sh. So this is the way you go into the app. Now we're gonna use local curl localhost 121.2. Curl not found. I think I haven't installed curl here. Apt install curl. Wget localhost 122. File already exists. It you can't open index.html. File exists. Okay. CD. Now, yeah. ls yeah. Index.html. Okay. Open don't work. Cat index.html. You can see that our game was here. As cart is not working, I'm using a user wget rm-rf index.html and I'm coming out of the thing. So our main thing is not only deploying, also using the services. Services is the one which gonna deploy our thing to the web page. So there are multiple ways. One is the cluster IP, node port, and the load balancer. As of now, load balancer is used when we have the cloud provider. But as of now, we don't have the cloud provider, so now we are using node port. Yes, ring ttt service.yaml. It's time for the service. For YAML files, you may think this 3 dashes in the start is mandatory, but it's not the mandatory. We can write, we can start coding without that. API version is I'm giving v1 and kind is a service and the metadata. Metadata and the name I'm giving the Tic-Tac-Toe service. Now the specs and the type it's the main thing. Node port we are using. As we don't have any provider, we're gonna use the node IP address and the port we are getting we are giving in the service. Node port and the selector and the selector is the most important thing here. TTT. I will show why we should give this TTT because yes, okay, where it is cd cat ttt deployment. Here you can see as we had given the label app ttt, so we should give the same thing here. So if we replace this one with any other name, it will not this service will not get connected to the deployment. Now the ports. Port 1212. This port is which get exposed from the deployment from the Docker. from the pod, sorry. Target port 1212, and the node port, if we don't give node port, it will assign in as a random, but we can give it manually. And remember one thing, node port should be given from 30,000 to 30,207, 30,000 32,700. The range should be that. So I am giving 300,000 it's our wish, we can give any. Mhm. So saving this one, kubectl apply hyphen f ttt service.yaml kubectl get sec. Now we can see on port 3005, the service is running with this cluster IP. As we are not using cluster IP, cluster IP is used only used when we use that, it should only it will be working only within the cluster. So node port is running it in the entire node with the same network. Kubectl get pod. We can see our pod is running and our service is running. So it's time to see the output. There are mm, I'm using if config if config. Okay, host name hyphen I. Okay, if config is not installed, so I don't want to install. I know my IP address. Hostname hyphen I is the command to see the IP address. This is my IP address. Copying that. Curl. Okay. Curl. HTTP. Control Shift V is to now 33005. We should see that index.html page here. Here we can see index.html page. Now we're gonna see the same output in the browser. HTTP control V is to 33005. Here we can see the game is running. To check the same thing we can also check it in the worker node. I think it will take a little time because worker node is very slow because my machine is not so good. So I'm gonna SSH into that machine. HOP machine2 at the rate 192.168.11.129. It's the machine, yeah. So now I'm in the root of the machine2. Yeah, it's working, so we can check it here itself. Curl http 192.168.128, sorry, 11.128 is the this machine1 IP address. Here you can see machine1, right? Host name hyphen I. Here you can see 128 is my machine IP address. I'm using it in the machine2 when the 30005. Here we can see the same thing. Yeah. HTTP 172, sorry, my bad, it's 192. 2.168.128 is to 30005. Here we can see our Tic-Tac-Toe is deployed in the Kubernetes. So this is how we deploy a application in the Kubernetes. Thanks.